Hello, 27th of August 2017. We've just popped over to the allotment to do a bit of tidying and cleaning. Chris is starting the lawnmower and I'm just going to go around and look at what's what. This is our Warwickshire Drooper plum. This is the most plums it's ever had, and I think the pheromone traps have been working because we haven't had many grubs, although some still have the grubs, and they're really nice plums despite the mottled effect and the bruises. My hazel hedge is coming along. Must keep those weeds in check though. And down on the ground here we have a cucumber plant. This was from the neighbour. I didn't know what it was until the cucumbers started to appear. One's a cucumber plant and the rest seem to be melons. Behind them, the original plum tree on this plot when we took it over appears to be suffering from something. We already cut one branch off. Now this main branch is dying. This one is the only branch that's still looking healthy. When you look at the cut end, there's no sign of fungus infection as far as we can tell, but we are considering cutting down the tree because it clearly isn't healthy. So there are my new carrots and parsnips. There are the original parsnips, all two of them looking very good. And under the nets, the cabbages that I planted, I don't know, a week ago, they're actually growing. They're looking quite happy in there. These are turnips, I think, 2 rows of turnips. And they're also putting out a lot of leaf and growing a little at the bottom. And next to them, 2 rows of multicoloured beetroots, not many of which have come up, but the carrots I planted in the gaps are coming up. These are the runner beans. Runner beans always do well. We've been giving them away like nobody's business. These are the brassicas, full of leaves. What was there to say about them? We've had lots of broccoli. The broccoli is now putting out some flowers, which I suppose we missed them. The flowers are getting smaller and not so easy to spot. Somewhere in there I'm hoping there will be a cauliflower, but still it isn't growing. The potatoes are dying down, the main crop potatoes. We will have to start digging those up soon. And the leeks, I'm really happy, they're just so big and fat, even if they have got a little bit of rust. On the new allotment, the squashes are actually growing a lot more than I expected they would. Here's, I don't remember what variety this is, but they're big and green. They're winter squashes of some kind. It starts here, and it was ramping all the way across the potatoes, and we had to divert it around the corner so we could dig the potatoes up. And it went all along the edge of the sweet corn there. And it also turned back and climbed up the pea frame, which is why I can't take the pea frame down yet. And it's even still producing some new little squashes, although they probably won't come to much at this time of year. There it is. These squashes are an heirloom variety called blue banana. When you wade through the undergrowth and you find them, they're absolutely huge. They're not blue and they're nothing like a banana, and we'll probably end up giving them away. The French beans are Blue Lake variety. They're very tasty. I do like French beans. The tomatoes are dying. Our allotment neighbour says tomatoes never do well outdoors here. There's too much blight around. These beans, which my sister sent from Japan, I think they're definitely some kind of soybean. You can get black soybeans if that's what they are. And over here we've got some more beans. The ones I planted to grow up my sweet corn, and they're doing that. It's a bit of a jungle though, isn't it, really? I mean, it's so hard to walk amongst this stuff. I think this Three Sisters idea is much overrated. Anyway, there's some beans drying off and a Brussels sprout plant next to them. And here is a little orange squash, a much more reasonable size for 2 people. The plant, again, it's ramping along the ground and ended up in the other pea frame there. And the squash from the other direction, there's a butternut squash, also ended up in the pea frame and is hanging nicely from the wires. That's the butternut squash bed, as I planted it originally, only 4 plants, And again, it's producing absolutely huge fruits. They're massive. Look at this, compared with my little hand. The chickpeas, on the other hand, I'm not sure if I'm going to get any crop at all from these. The plants are going all brown and dying, and when you squeeze the pods, there's nothing in a lot of them. They're just empty pods. Anyway, I'll leave them till they all go brown and we'll see what happens. So the beans are growing up the mini pop sweet corn. We've had just about all the corn now from that. And the asparagus is looking the best it ever has done since we put it in its new bed, which is encouraging. The flower bed is still dominated by those 2 physalis plants. And the nasturtiums, another thing I'm not going to bother growing again next year. And there's Chris busily mowing all the grass while I'm fannying around looking at things. Oh yes, and here's our courgette plant, our one plant, still producing sufficient for our needs. And the Brussels sprout plants, the early Brussels sprouts, with actually quite reasonable looking button sprouts. I could pick some of those. So there it is, the jungle. Next year I'm going to try and make it a bit tidier, I think. So we've had a lovely dinner of freshly picked sweet corn. It's so sweet. And potatoes and beans and onions, all the things we grew ourselves. And the allotment's looking tidier than it was. Chris has done a lot of mowing and I've done quite a lot of weeding, and we've come back to sit and enjoy the sunset and have a bonfire, get rid of a bit more of the rubbish that we've been accumulating, and have a glass of wine. Cheers.